We did. It was a great win for our guys. Really, like I said a little bit earlier, it's a great win for our community. They came out and supported us real well. I appreciate everything that our administration and our faculty and everyone involved with our program did, with a few extras that we had to, work around with the pandemic and stuff going on. But I thought everything went on, especially on the field, without a hitch, and our guys played well and didn't let those distractions bother them. Well, I mean, we had a great summer, and we actually did our summers and our preseason like we've done them every year, and a lot of that reasoning was just because we didn't want to change things for our guys. We didn't want them to have to do something different. We didn't add practice time or anything like that. We did our 3 weeks in June, took a week off, did our 3 weeks in July, took a week off when you could have started that week, and then we've practiced for 3 weeks, and it culminated with the game last night. And I thought our guys for a game one looked pretty sharp and came out, and we didn't really know a whole lot about Cleburne County, but we knew what we were going to do from an offensive standpoint, and we can adjust to the different fronts that we're going to see. And then from a defensive standpoint, we played a lot of base defense, and I thought our guys did a great job. Well, it's always good for those young guys to get to play. I think I'd mentioned before with our coaches meeting and stuff, the benefits that you get when you are able to play those young guys is, we might give up a chance to get a shutout, but we're protecting our guys from injury that have got to play the next week. And also, we're giving young guys a lot of experience playing. And I think you're seeing that, a lot of these guys that are playing right now have had a lot of Friday night time under the lights. And so even though they might be a junior or a senior that's starting for their first time, they've played a lot of Friday nights under the lights, even if it's been for a quarter or two. So I
Yes.
think that's a benefit to us. Well, I mean, obviously, from a coaching standpoint, coaches mentally start preparing, right after the game's over. We don't really enjoy a lot of them as much as you'd like to think. But to be honest with you, I try to make it where our guys force an enjoyment day on them, and Saturday's that day. We don't get washed away by the waves. But a normal week, this is how it goes. Friday night, we'll input the game. We'll put it into huddle. We'll send it to be done. We'll swap film with the opponent. Um, Once that comes in, pretty much we are off until Sunday at 1:30. Now, it doesn't mean we don't. Blake's going to do a little bit of his defensive stuff on Saturdays. I'm going to look at their defense. I know a lot of our coaches, they're oriented to look at that stuff. But we'll come in on Sunday at 1:30. We'll bring the kids in at 2. We'll work the kids out from 2 to about 5, and during that time, we're going to watch film half the time, and then we're going to get a weight lift in, and some stretching and conditioning and a lot of stuff to kind of get some of the soreness out from Friday. And then, practice on Monday is going to be a shells practice. Tuesday's going to be a full practice, and then Wednesday we're back to shells, and Thursday we're in shorts. And I know people ask all the time about the physicality of what we do from an offensive standpoint. How do we practice that? How do you practice being physical? Well, first of all, the first thing is making sure we're healthy and making sure that we've got some juice in the tank for Friday nights. But as a coaching staff, we're going to do our work on Sunday after before the kids get there and after the kids leave, and get all our prep done for the week and get our practice schedules done and our calendar done for the week, so that, we're pretty much, once we leave on Sunday, the week's set. And we might make a tweak here or there during the week, but those practice times that I named on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's the gist of the whole thing that we're doing. And then on Thursday is going to be a light practice in shorts, and we're going to go out and go through just anything that's different. But normally it's offense, defense, special teams, and then obviously that's our prep for the week. And while it sounds simple, it's a little bit more in depth than that. But the main thing we try to do is keep it simple, because I think that the fewer moving parts we have, the better our execution can be. So I like what we do. Well, we didn't get to look I mean, you work on special teams. You never get to work special teams live. And so last night was a lot of special teams live, mainly from the kickoff point of view. But I thought our guys did a great job overall with that, because the first time you run down under a kickoff and you haven't practiced it live is about the time you're going to get ear-holed by that other side, because you don't know what you're going up against. So I thought, from a special teams point of view, I thought our kickoff team did an excellent job last night, not only with Eli placing the ball where we wanted it, but our covering down the field and then redirecting, getting back in our lanes and making plays. And I thought they did a great job and even forced a turnover last night. So to be honest with you, that part of our special teams was good. Offensively, other than one turnover, I thought we executed as pretty dang good for a first game. And then defensively, we were just swarming. So we really had a good game for week 1. Well, it's funny, our schedule, when we were in 3A, you get used to that fight of that 3A region and your non-region games. And then all of a sudden you go down to AA, and while you've had some really good football teams in AA, they're fewer and far between than 3A. And so there are weeks off, so to speak, where that you're a lot better than the people you're playing. Well, I can just tell you, every week that we play, and there's another one. Every week that we play in this schedule is going to be a challenge for our players, And so last night I was excited because we were able to play. We went into the game thinking we had 15 to 18 kids that could really play for us. We came out of the game last night saying, hey, we've got probably 18 to 25 that can really play for us. And that's going to be important in this part of the schedule. We're going to play Anniston, who lost a close game to Welborn last night, but Anniston is a 4A semifinalist last year. Welborn was a 3A semifinalist last year. So he expected the game to be a tough, hard-fought game, and that's exactly what it was. So we've got our hands full next week, but I'm going to enjoy today.
Enjoy today.
Last night, but we'll be full bore into Anniston by tomorrow. But you're right, it's going to be a tough football game for us, but it's going to be another measuring stick, and we get to go to a hostile environment. So our kids love challenges like that, so it'll be fun. Well, I was born in Baton Rouge area, which was considered South Louisiana. But, early in my life, we moved and we ended up in North Louisiana, over there in Shreveport. And I just call Shreveport East Texas because, and that's probably people say, well, you're from Louisiana, but you don't have an accent. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, Cajun accents, you don't get many people with Cajun accents except if they're south of I-10. And I never lived south of I-10, ever. And then the other thing was my mom was a school teacher for 37 years, and mainly it was English, and she wasn't going to let me talk without proper English. So it's one of those things that when you're brought up that way. But I lived down there, and then I went back and coached in South Louisiana most of my career down there at Ponchatoula and Destrehan area.
Destrehan, for those that don't know, is the home of Ed Reed.
It is the home of Ed Reed. There's some other good players. It's the home of Jordan Jefferson, who played at LSU. They got some really good players out of Destrehan now that are still, like Vincent from LSU last year, the receiver. I mean, not Vincent, the other Jefferson, Jordan's younger brother, who's now in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, Destrehan has been able to turn out some great players. I remember Ed because I got to coach him, but I think of all the guys it's turned out since I've left, and it's really a hotbed for athletes coming out, and they've supplied LSU with some really good football players and some other schools as well. It'll be so that was a great place to coach and cut your teeth, so to speak. But I'm gonna tell you, 13 years ago I moved to Alabama. Don't regret it one bit. It's been everything I could ask for, and of course, I'm living on the lake and living the life, so to speak. A simple one, but a good one. And
but you do pull for the LSU Tigers.
I do pull for the LSU Tigers. I lived there 45 years. Nobody can blame me.
I don't blame you. You was born and raised there, and I last week you kind of mentioned that to me, which You're one of the good ones.
One of the good ones.
One of the good ones.
Well, I'm going to tell you what that is. That's football coaches. I mean, when you're a football coach, you understand you look at the whole big picture. I mean, I'm an LSU fan, but that doesn't mean, I cheer for other schools in the SEC. I mean, the only thing that I'm careful of is, the Alabama-Auburn thing, because it's such a huge thing. When I found that out 13 years ago, I'd never been anywhere that, the first thing people ask you is, who is it, Alabama or Auburn? And then I'll say something about a Tiger, and I'll say, well, I'm a Tiger fan. Oh, you're an Auburn fan? No, I'm not that Tiger fan, okay? So I kind of ride the fence on that thing. I mean, there are games that I like Auburn. There are games that I like Alabama. I mean, as long as neither one of them are playing LSU. And if they're playing LSU, I always tell people I'm for LSU every game but a couple during the year. All right? I mean, it's or I should say, I'll switch that around, from LSU every game, but I'm for Alabama or Auburn every game except a couple,
Except for a couple.
That's when they're playing my Tigers. And so, but I don't make that we were very fortunate to have a great team last year, but I mean, Alabama's the one that's kind of set the bar up there, year in and year out. And this year's going to be no different. I was just talking to Coach Jennings about it the other day, how on this new SEC schedule with all this stuff, LSU and Alabama both have open weeks before they play each other again.
I think they're always going to do that, I think, because both teams are so physical.
I understand that, but shouldn't they both have the open weeks after they play each other?
I think Alabama and LSU need an open week before and after.
Hey, Mike, you have a good point there.
But, yeah, I just want to give you a chance to boast. Living in that, it's had to be pretty rough living in Alabama as an LSU fan.
It is.
And last year it paid off.
I'm a coach, so I analyze everything. And LSU hadn't been good enough to beat Alabama. And as long as the best team's winning the football game, then I can live with that. I always tell people I'm a fan, but if my team gets beat, it's because they got beat. I mean, it's a game. So I can accept that. Same thing with Ohatchee on Friday nights. I mean, we hadn't lost a lot of regular season games in the last 4 years. If we get beat by somebody that's better than us, I can live with that. I mean, that's part of it. And I try to teach our kids that we're going to go out and give our best effort every Friday night. And if somebody beats you because they beat you, hey, tip your cap to them, shake their hand, and get ready for the next game, and understand that. That's part of it. You're not going to win every game forever. We'd like to think we could. Paul's done a pretty good job of coming close to about 89-2, or whatever they are. Maybe it's 90-2 after last night, but but still, the reality of it is you can get beat, and as long as you're getting beat, and of course, when we get beat, we always attribute it to ourselves. Sometimes we never give the opponent credit, but. The bottom line is, I tell our kids before every game, they practice just like you. They get ready just like you. They're going to make plays. It's going to be how we react to the plays that they make. They're going to define how we play the whole game. And to be honest with you, I went in and I told our kids last night before the game, hey, they've got players. They're going to make some plays, but that's one play. How's it going to be through 120 plays is going to be the difference in how the football game goes. And we won more plays than they did last night, and we got a victory, so I'm excited.